All right, we got to talk about Nvidia. I know it's your favorite long-term investment. Here's what's intriguing about it, though. This year, it's kind of lost its luster, if you will. It's 18%, which would be good for any stock, but you compare that to the Philly stocks, it's up 60%. Advanced Micro's up 93%. Micron up 145%. And of course, Intel up 200%. What is it about Nvidia that people should stay in that when these other semis seem to be doing so much better?
So, Charles, NVIDIA is at the forefront of the AI revolution. And what we've seen is that NVIDIA has already gone through massive growth spurts. And so now at this point, it's normalizing. It's not making crazy 200% moves, but it's still at the forefront. And with AMD and Intel, those tickers had weekly squeeze setups. If you pull up your stock chart, you'll see that they were consolidated before they broke out. Right. And NVIDIA is in that consolidation phase, ready to break out again.
That's what we call a coiled spring.
Interview Jensen Huang, President CEO of NVIDIA, on this program. Here is what he told her about AI and profitability. Listen.
The first thing is to take a step back and realize that AI has only recently started to do productive work. It's able to now do something productive for us, do something valuable. We're at the beginning of the scale out of AI, finally. We're kind of in, if you will, the second inning. The first inning was just getting AI to technology to be invented. So we're in the second inning of that. It's very clear that through next year, through the next several years, the world is going to have more demand, far more demand than there will be supply. And so it's going to be a couple of 2-3 years of catch up. And then beyond that, we're going to scale AI from the cloud to enterprises to industrial. And that's physical AI or robotics is really where I think that the largest industries will be impacted and really be benefited by AI. And so that's still several years away.
Eddie, your reaction to those comments from him?
I couldn't agree more, and that's what's so exciting right now. And I think what's going to benefit tremendously are small businesses. This has been the talk in all boardrooms, especially the last few months. I am seeing this business owner after business owner is talking about how they're going to be implementing AI to make their companies more efficient, more profitable. And so we are in the very early innings of this. I've just spent the last couple of days with my buddy Bob Sipp, who has about 30 business owners together for a charity golf tournament. And we have these conversations. They're over lunch. This is what everyone is talking about right now, and it's just started. So I think you have one of two companies. You're going to have companies that adopt AI and are going to be forward-thinking, or you're going to have those that don't, and they're going to be obsolete in the next 3 to 5 years. So even in the financial service business, you have to have that as part of your investment process if you want to stay ahead of the game, be competitive, and be one of the best at what you do.
Obviously, we've seen a typical reaction in NVIDIA. It doesn't typically rally post earnings because it does rally on its customers' earnings earlier in the season. So what have we learned from this company?
Hey, Sam, thanks for having me on today. Appreciate the opportunity to go through NVIDIA earnings with you. Obviously, a blowout quarter, beating on the quarter, guiding up. I mean, I think we got confirmation that we're still very much in the early innings of the AI cycle. I think a lot of questions got answered, right? As Rubin is ramping, we saw the margins kind of holding. That was a key sign. I think we got some interesting new news on the capital allocation front, the buyback, the dividend. I think, really starting to think about what's going to make NVIDIA attractive to that, other type of investor that tends to be more, value focused. I think, with the stock a little bit stuck, I think the management team starting to explore, how they can kind of open the aperture in terms of, what type of investors are interested in the company. But, I think all signs pointing to, us being very early in the AI revolution, still really supply constrained relative demand, and, a really bright outlook ahead for not just a couple quarters, but multiple years.
So who is NVIDIA's earnings good for? I mean, when you think of it really being at the top of the food chain here and one man's capex being another man's revenue, and obviously the companies that work with NVIDIA, I'm thinking about the picks and shovels and the broader AI trade here, which it was very important to hear from NVIDIA to get a sense of who benefits the most.
Well, I think there's a lot of beneficiaries, right? I mean, I think you can look at some of the companies that have gotten some, prepayments and support from Nvidia, as they build out the supply chain. I think, you have to look at the picks and shovels, like the semi-cap equipment companies like Applied Materials, Lam Research, ASML. Obviously, TMC, a huge beneficiary here, Micron, Hynix, and the memory suppliers. But I took a lot of positivity down at the application layer as well. I mean, obviously, we're going to need to build out a lot more compute, and all of the supply chain and infrastructure names are benefiting. But I think we got a lot of positive signals that, we're in the very early innings of the inference ramp. And as inference ramps up, I think you're going to start to see a lot more value recognition.
For obvious reasons, there were many highlights. You can pick whichever one you want. Revenue's up 85% year on year. The guide was good. The buyback of $80 billion. They raised the dividend. The data center revenue almost doubling. We knew it was going to be good. It was. We knew the stock wasn't likely to do all that much right after. It hasn't. Well, the stock's moved a lot. It's up 10% into the number. What do you make of what you got and what it means now?
I still think it's going to 250. Nvidia is not a great post-earnings reaction stock because, as we've talked about, it pre-rallies. It rallies on the results of its 10 biggest customers, which we hear from weeks before they actually get a chance to report. And as such, the most important number each quarter is not top-line sales, is not the earnings per share. The most important number is always the guide. The guide was ahead of expectations by $4 or $5 billion. That's all we need. And I think that look, you don't get plus 10 points in the stock after, because look at the rally from April into now. Basically, you had a stock sitting at 170 that nobody wanted, and now here we are, 220. That's the equivalent of a $17 stock running to 22, ahead of the number. Now you got the number that at least justifies the rally we've already had. I think it's a day or two of digestion, and then this thing could take off all over again. Not saying it will, saying very likely in my view. And so you want to sell a stock trading 18 times forward earnings? That's telling you they're going to grow earnings 83% in the next 12 months. You could make that sale if you feel like it. I wouldn't.
Malcolm, here's a good question for you. The one that heard on the street, the Wall Street Journal asks today, or at least points out, is Nvidia underappreciated? People hear me say that and they sit back like, what the hell is this guy talking about? At almost $5 trillion in market cap, how can you possibly say that? Are they getting enough credit for their position in this whole ball game? Is there too much apathy towards it because everybody thinks they know the story? It's not the shiny new thing on the mountaintop. Is that causing the stock to sputter a little bit? Jensen talked about it himself. Talked about it being a mystery, mysterious why the stock's been a bit stagnant. What do you think?
I think you have to put it into context of whether you're thinking like a trader or you're thinking about this like an investor. Because an investor is going to look at this particular period and say this company is obviously underpriced, selling for 18 times forward earnings, like Josh just pointed out. 250 should be no-brainer, right? You're about to get the stampede of price adjustments from all the analysts post-earnings, as we usually do. But if you're looking near term, just at 2026, let's call it, it's reasonable to think that the stock is probably going to continue to stagnate because they can't continue to impress us anymore. Any other company has the earnings report that we got last night. We've got 85% growth. We've got a doubling in data center revenue. We even heard the CPU business is going to be responsible for about $20 billion on its own, right? This is a tertiary business if you consider it against GPUs. Any other company would be up 25% after earnings today. But Nvidia specifically, because they have this pattern of beating the expectations by about $2 billion on top line, which they did again, showing us outsized growth that nobody else can do and 75 to 80% gross margins, it's just become such a common story that it's hard to really impress us anymore.
Does the buyback help with that problem?
I don't think so. I don't think the dividend increase even makes enough of a difference, even though it was 25 times what it was before, because you're not buying this stock because you care about the current income. You're not buying this stock because you want them to financially engineer their way into a great share price appreciation like an Apple, for example. You're buying this stock because it is the innovation engine. You're buying this stock because there's a leader.
If the stock is selling 18 times earnings, they just up their authorized buyback from $39 billion, which was what was left on the original, to $80 billion. They should probably be doing that buyback right now. I don't know why they'd wait. Like if you're running the company and thinking about the best use of capital, yeah, we understand they're making these one-off investments into a lot of projects that they think are benefiting long term, but the free cash flow here has just absolutely exploded. I can't think of a better thing for them to do than some float shrink while the market may be bored with the story or whatever.
Well, who's your incremental buyer, though, Josh? I'm serious about this. You have 95% of the sell side that have buys on this, and you have everybody. It's 8.5% of the S&P 500 waiting. So obviously, there's a lot of owners. Who is your? I mean, I don't think at 23 times, or okay, maybe say 18
Didn't
times.
Didn't they say that about Apple at 200 and it went to 300?
But I don't think at 18 times. I don't think it's for value buyers are going to be jumping in at 18 times. I mean, I think it's going to take a cheaper multiple for the value players. I'm not disagreeing at all with the growth. The growth is amazing at this company. It was a phenomenal quarter. I think the guidance for 27, people wanted more color. I think that's one of the reasons why you've had this.
You want to hit Nvidia very closely, but right now we have the S&P 500 not far off from 7,500. Your target over 8,000, James, right? What is it?
8,100.
8,100, says James Demmer. What will be the catalyst for 8,100?
Yeah, I think investors have been wondering how can it go higher. They simply need to look at earnings growth. Not only in the rearview mirror of this year, earnings have been way better than expected, but now earnings are expected this year to grow at 20%, which is a tremendous increase. And if that anywhere comes near 8,100 is an easy shot from here.
Easy shot. Do you have a real bull case target too?
Yeah, we do have a real bull case. If you think about it, artificial intelligence is creating real productivity growth in this economy. And that's what we're seeing with earnings continuing to expand, not just in AI, which everyone questioned, but now that obviously the answer is there that the earnings have been good. So we think that earnings drive to 8,100. And as you may know, we think that by 2030, we go to Dow 100,000 and S&P 500 15,000, which is almost a double from here.
2030, Dow 100,000. So make sure you stay fully invested. Should people be fully invested here?
I think investors have learned that they should be, and now the market's back up to these highs. And I think absolutely you want to stay fully invested, be very disciplined about the sectors you're exposed to, the kinds of companies you're exposed to. And if you're not fully invested, there will be some chop. I think with rates going up like they have, any kind of dips that you have here over the next month or two, which we could see, you want to be a buyer in there.
We were just talking about AI, and companies like Nvidia are seeing incredible demand. Data center revenue was higher. We talked about GPUs and now CPUs. Tell me about some of your takeaways from the Nvidia report.
Yeah, we've been big Nvidia owners, as you probably know, for years. And that report, I think it finally shut the door on the people that have been questioning whether Nvidia can continue to accelerate in its earnings, and also the AI trade in general. The numbers were spectacular. They, just when they keep raising the bar, they keep jumping over it. And what's really fascinating, Nicole, is the stock is trading at 21 times earnings, and it's growing at 45% a year. That kind of metric combination is the opposite of a bubble that's about to pop.
So right now it's at 236, and you don't think it's overvalued?
No, we would be a buyer here.
You'd be a buyer even here for the folks that think maybe the AI bubble could burst. That's not your case. When you think about what's driving it within the data centers, and we were talking about some of the other names like Lenovo, where revenue surged 80-something%. Google had some great numbers. Within Nvidia, the data centers, now the switch to CPUs, the $80 billion in revenue, $90 billion to come. Just one more thought on Nvidia.
The switch from GPUs to CPUs, they're already ahead of it. Their new product cycle, everyone's very excited about coming in the second half. I think that's another driver of the stock. And let's face it, most investors are still somewhat bearish, or at least not fully bullish, not only on the AI trade, but on Nvidia stock as well. You saw after the earnings, which were fantastic, the stock didn't do a whole lot, and I think that's why there's a lot of value there.
Ahead of the holiday weekend, because things are looking pretty good. Tech stocks right now, as you can see, are doing really well, and this is powering the NASDAQ. As you see on your screen, up 17 points. S&P is up by 8. Dow up by 120 in the pre-market. Of course, we had a record on the Dow last night, joining the party of the S&P and the NASDAQ, which have both been hitting multiple records over the last couple of weeks. Nvidia's blockbuster earnings beat, of course, has been the talk of the week, and we've got all these major tech IPOs that are coming. SpaceX officially filing paperwork to go public. OpenAI could reportedly file within days or weeks, and Anthropic is going to be later this year. Supposedly, the company does say a portion of shares are going to be sold to regular retail investors through trading platforms like Fidelity, Robinhood, and Charles Schwab. Eddie, I want to get your thoughts on all of this.
Look, I think this is one of the most resilient and strongest markets we've seen in our lifetime. For us to continue to hit new highs the way we have in the face of an energy crisis and yields really spiking, I think speaks to how strong the economy is and how strong earnings growth has been. Markets care more about the rate of change versus the actual numbers. And the rates of change on earnings and revenue growth for businesses have been amazing. And this AI spend, they're projecting 600 to 700 billion of CapEx spending this year. This is a massive boost to the economy. And I think right now the biggest challenge we have here short term is energy prices. A peace deal would certainly help tremendously if it bring oil prices down, and then the 10-year treasury would come down as well too. So if oil prices stay elevated and the yields continue to make higher highs, you should expect a summer correction. But I would be buying those hand over fist, because the biggest thing I've seen here is people have missed this rally. It's been really hated. They continue to ask how much higher can it go. And this is a real earnings story. These aren't just companies that are fly by night. So we've been concentrated in technology. We've rotated in and out of areas that are interest rate sensitive. And if we get a gift of another summer dip like we saw a few days ago and like we saw earlier in the year, we will buy hand over fist, because I think by the time we get to the end of the year, markets are going to be much higher, and we're going to surprise to the upside on growth economically as well as earnings.